Right. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Inspiring Conversations. And today is Motivational Monday. And what we're talking about is about leadership lessons. All right. So, my two co hosts are still far away. But that's what we're doing here, guys. We keep being consistent. So I am here with you. I hope you joined me tonight as we discuss about leadership lessons and stories from our favorite leaders and what leadership lesson we can learn from them. So tonight, join me as we discuss that. My name is Ian Junaldo, and um, I'm so excited for this episode. All right. So since I don't have a co-host, I will be discussing to you or sharing to you the top three leaders that I tried to emulate and learn from and take my leadership skills and lessons from them. All right. So here are my top three leaders and what I learned from them. All right. So number one is Jesus Christ. So this is my go-to leader. So Jesus Christ is my go-to leader. So for me, he is one of the most profound leaders, and I can learn really a lot of leadership lessons from him. And one of that actually is about servant leadership. Okay. So, what is this servant leadership that Jesus is really teaching us? So, number one, so what Jesus always emphasized is leading by example and serving others. So, if you're familiar with the Gospel of John, hold on. All right. If you're familiar with the Gospel of John, here's what he is uh, teaching us. If you're familiar with the story where Jesus washes the feet of his disciples, right? It's a task that's typically reserved for the lowest of the servants. So if you're familiar with Jesus' time, washing the feet of the servants or of his disciples actually is reserved for the lowest of the servants. All right, so hi Rosh, thank you so much for joining. So we already started, right? So Rosh just came from another commitment. So we're always here to deliver our promise to you guys. So again, Rosh, also uh what we're doing, Rosh, tonight is actually sharing leaders, top leaders that inspire us, inspire me. I already shared mine. Number one is Jesus Christ. All right. So what I like about him is his servant leadership. If you're familiar with the Gospel of John, Jesus washes the feet of his disciples, and that task actually is reserved for the lowest of the servants. And by doing this, actually Jesus demonstrated humility and the idea that a leader should be willing to do anything they ask of their followers. So this act actually teaches us the importance of humility, selflessness, and putting the needs of others before our very own. Now, Rosh, sino naman yung for you, sino naman yung leader na that inspired you? So we have top three. Yung number one ko pa lang si Jesus Christ. Sa'yo naman.
Sige. Maganda yung topic mo na si Jesus Christ. So, hindi ko na kokontrahin yan. Nauna ka na. Doon ako sa pangalawa kay Apostle Paul.
All right.
Siguro meron akong bias ng konti. Siya kasi yung favorite kong apostle. Maybe because the way that he was called is different among the rest. And the responsibility given to Apostle Paul is different. Mas malawak kumbaga. Kasi the other apostles, most of them were asked to evangelize within Israel sa mga Hudyo ka nga. Pero si Apostle Paul
Mm-mm.
lumabas siya. He evangelized people na hindi Jews. So meaning ibang relihiyon. So mas malaki yung resistance sa kanya. I remember dun sa isang passage sa Bible na sinabi niya, sa mga Hudyo, nag-ari akong Hudyo, sa mga Hentil, nag-ari akong Hentil. Tagalog kasing naalala ko yung so meaning nakibagay siya sa lahat ng tao. So ibig sabihin,
Mm.
ah katulad ng binabanggit ni Marl kanina, humility, si Apostle Paul, ganun din. At ang sobrang natuwa ako kasi, nabasa ko with one of the passage in the Bible that Apostle Paul, while evangelizing, is actually working. So, hindi siya kumukuha.
Oh.
Yeah, he was working. He was
Parang
creating
hindi siya
tents.
nahihingi.
Hindi siya
Hindi siya
nanghihingi.
nahihingi ng ano.
Oo, kasi ayaw niya rin na sabihan siya na pinagkakakitaan niya. Kasi 'di ba bawal na bawal din
Mm.
naman dati noon yung mga Christians, nakalagay nga sa Bible na huwag kayong hihingi. Parang nangaral sila ng walang hininging anuman, 'di ba, sa ibang tao. So
Mm.
syempre pag member ka na ng church nila, meron silang sariling contribution. But at that time, nangangaral ka pa sa ibang tao, hentil at that time yung term kasi nila sa non-Christians or non-Jews
Yeah,
ay hentil.
Gentiles ata 'yan parang ano,
Tayo tayo, oo,
sa
mga
English.
hindi, oo.
Oo.
So, nangaral siya without asking
Parang
for money.
non-believer.
Oo, non-believer, anong tawag, mga herehes.
Oo,
So,
mga
oo,
atheist
so
ba
ang
'yun, yung mga gano'n?
hindi not necessarily atheist kasi may mga God naman sila, iba nga lang, 'di ba? Not
Okey,
necessarily
okey.
the God of Israel, 'yun. So, parang ini-imagine ko nung mga panahon na yun na walang cellphone, walang eroplano, yung lahat, 'di ba? Mano-mano, magbabiyahe ka from one country to another kasi gano'n siya eh. Ang tagal, it would take him months to get to where he is going
Oo,
to, where he's going to. Tapos 'di ba yung
wala
the
pa
way
namang
that
airplane book before.
'di ba? Oh, the way that he's preaching by scroll, sulat. So yung sulat bago makarating, 'di ba? Merong isang passage doon na for example, sulat niya sa mga taga Macedonia, naka-note doon sa ilalim, ipabasa niyo rin 'to sa iglesia ng mga taga Corinto. So parang tinitipid niya na pagkatapos basahin sa Macedonia, ewan ko kung i-re-copy ba nila
Ipasa
'yon.
niyo.
Oh, 'di ba? Dadalhin. May mga gano'n siyang
Yes.
instances. So natuwa ako, parang na-amaze ako. I'm so inspired by how he was preaching at napadami niya 'yun, napalago niya yung mga Gentiles.
Oo.
That's why I'm so inspired by Apostle Paul's way of evangelization and the humility that he has shown to the people. Ayun, Marl.
Yes, sige. So anuhan ko lang 'yan, speaking kasi 'yun si Paul sa'yo, si Jesus naman kasi parang ang ano ni Apostle Paul is about inclusiveness, right?
Mhm,
Which,
mhm.
we can also see that with Jesus if you remember the story of the Good Samaritan, 'di
Yeah.
ba? The Good Samaritan, it helps the wounded on the side of the road even though they come from different backgrounds. And they are actually traditionally seen as enemies, 'di ba?
Mhm.
So, the parable of this actually it underscores the importance of compassion, right?
Yeah.
Compassion, the empathy and breaking down barriers, and that's what leaders should do. We should
Yes.
be inclusive as leaders and treat everyone with kindness. At saka hindi tayo maging, we don't prejudice, and dapat muna as a leader, you don't be dictated by societal norms na wala kang mga stereotype, wala kang ano. So, yun yung din nakita ko dun sa story na yun na The Good Samaritan, right? And yun naman sa sinabi mo na, yung
Yung
sinusulat niya tapos nagiging resourceful siya, 'di ba?
Mm.
Yung sa pagsulat niya na ipasa niyo rin 'to kay Corinto. I
Oo.
also see that with Jesus. If you're familiar with him feeding people with 5,000, feeding the 5,000 people with only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, 'di
Mm.
ba? Yung story na yun, and he miraculously feeds that crowd of 5,000 people. So this story also teaches us about being resourceful as a leader, na ay ito lang yung ano lang, you only have 5 loaves of bread and 2 isda. Ano ba yung gagawin natin?
Ano natin 'to?
Oo, 'di ba? Paano ba natin 'to? Parang isang kurot lang ba para sa, but what that story is that Jesus became resourceful, and napaano niya, na napagkasya niya yung 2 isda tsaka 5 pirasong tinapay. So even when faced with limited resources, ito yung isa, no, we as leader should find a way to meet the needs of the many, of your followers, of your members. So it emphasizes the power of being creative as a leader, and believing in yourself. You as a leader should be the first to believe that you and your organization or your group could achieve seemingly impossible tasks.
Yes.
So yan yung nagustuhan ko rin sa leadership ni Jesus, no, sa ano. So sa'yo naman. So isa pa lang, isa pa tayo na leader.
Isa pa lang
Sino
tayo.
naman sa'yo? Oo, or
Um,
mayroon ka pa idadagdag about Apostle Paul?
Hindi. Pumunta naman tayo sa leadership ni David. Kasi nabahiran siya ng
Okay.
controversy. Oo, 'di ba? Nung
Yes, oo.
Testament kasi, David was not a perfect tawag dito, person. He was not a perfect king. In fact, nagkaroon siya ng
Yes, yes.
kasalanan. Oo, kasi nagkagusto siya sa asawa ng soldier niya, si Uriah, kung tama pagkakaalala ko. So, nagkagusto siya sa asawa kasi sobrang ganda, nakita niya na naliligo sa
Si
kuliguan.
Bathsheba 'yun, 'di ba? Bathsheba.
Yes, yes, si Bathsheba, oo. So hindi niya napigilan, siguro sobrang ganda niya, pinatawag niya si Bathsheba. Siyempre ang mga king kasi before 'pag pinapatawag, paliliguan yung babae, alam na nila, eh. At that time si Uriah nasa battlefield. Pero sobrang gusto
Oo.
niya, siguro hindi niya napigilan, 'di ba? So may nangyari sa kanila, nabuntis niya si Bathsheba. Tapos hindi niya alam yung gagawin, sobrang takot niya, siguro takot, nakokonsensya siya. Ang ginawa niya, pinatawag niya si Uriah from the war. Hindi ko alam
Oo,
kung alam
oo.
ng iba yung kwento, ha, oo. Ang purpose niya, para pag-uwi ni Uriah, sisipingan niya si Bathsheba para masabi niya na yung pinagbubuntis ni
Anak na
Bathsheba ay
'yun,
sa
oo.
kanya. Oo, 'di ba?
Sa kanya,
Tipikal na lalaki,
yes.
ayaw mahuli. 'Di ba? Loko din yan si ano,
Oo,
si King
oo.
David, 'di ba? Pero si Uriah, very loyal naman siya sa mga soldiers niya. Kasi hindi niya naiintindihan, ba't siya pinatawag ng king? Bakit siya
Oo,
pinakain, pinauwi, 'di ba? So he refused. 3 araw siyang natutulog sa labas ng kwarto nila. Basta nandun lang siya, hindi niya sinisipingan yung asawa niya. So bumalik siya sa battlefield, walang nangyari. So frustrated si King. So isip siya ng isip, anong gagawin? So pinatawag niya for the second time, makulit. Akala niya ma, ma tawag doon, malulure niya si Uriah na sipingan si ano, lalim Tagalog ko, Shirlene, inaalala
oo.
kita. 'Di ba? To make love with his wife na napakaganda at that
Mm.
time. Hindi pa rin talaga, kahit na busog siya at pinakain siya ng hari, na yun na lang yung parang kulang para makumpleto yung bakasyon niya, hindi talaga niya sinipingan. So frustrated, wala nang magawa si King, ang inutos niya sa pinaka top lieutenant, o kung anong tawag sa mga war that time, I can't even remember, na ilagay sa first line of defense si Uriah, for the intention na talagang maging casualty siya nung war. Parang dun
Mamatay,
siguro yung
oo.
oo, yun yung parang ultimate na guilt niyan after, kasi talagang namatay si Uriah. And then, siyempre
Yes.
kinuha niya ng asawa si Bathsheba. And then anong nangyari kay Bathsheba? Yung pinanganak nilang bata, namatay yun in the end, eh. Doon nga yun yung parang nag-ano siya, nag-ayuno siya, and then nagsuot siya ng sack, 'di ba? For how many days di siya lumalabas ng
Oo.
ano ng niya kasi sobrang guilt niya and nagso-sorry siya dun sa ginawa niya. So pinakita dun yung humility niya, pinakita dun na umamin siya sa mga kasalanan niya at pinakita kung paano siya bumawi. Yung pangalawang anak na nila, yun na si Solomon. So, gusto kong ipakita na yung leader, hindi perpekto yan. Dadating yung time, magkakamali yan. Lahat ng tao, just like
Yes,
any other human, na wag nating tingnan yung isang pagkakamali ng isang leader dahil nagkamali lang siya, nadala siya ng bugso ng damdamin niya, it doesn't define him as a leader. It's just
exactly.
showing na tao siya, nagkakamali. Pero anong nangyari sa kanya after? Nagbalik loob siya, nag-apologize siya, inamin niya yung kasalanan niya eh. And in fact, he was so guilty about it. 'Di ba? Pero naging totoong leader pa rin siya. Inalagaan niya yung kingdom niya to the best of his ability and he devoted his entire life to God, singing songs of praise and taking care of God's people. So, yun lang para alam lang natin na
Yeah.
hindi pala porket leader, lalo na prophet, 'di ba? Merong Holy Spirit ng
Yes.
Diyos, hindi na pwedeng magkamali. In fact, many
Oo.
prophets have sinned. Yun nga lang nagtumatak sa akin si David kasi na parang favorite kasi siya ni Lord eh, 'di ba? Anointed talaga siya kahit nung bata pa. Tapos
Yes.
naggawa siya ng
Oo.
kasalanan. So, iyon.
Parang ano kasi, um, it's of course we as human as we are, we commit mistakes, but the
Mm,
important thing is how we recover from those mistakes, 'di
yes,
ba?
totoo.
'Yun
Mm,
yung ano, ang second leader ko naman actually for me, hindi na 'to sa Bible, is si Steve Jobs. Because, it's for his vision being a visionary and relentless pursuit of excellence, yung nagustuhan ko sa kanya. In fact, there's one story when they are, ano, uh, they're introducing the iPad. If yung iPad iPod, yung music, hindi yung iPad na tablet,
yeah,
yung
yeah,
music pa
yeah.
noon. Oo, oo. So, for those who doesn't know what's an iPod, so it's like a parang digital Walkman. Oo. Kasi noon, Walkman may CD pa. So, ni-introduce si Apple niyan. So, ang ano, um, Steve Jobs insisted on the design and functionality of the first iPad and he wanted it to be really user-friendly and walang buttons. Kasi if you remember the iPad, wala siyang buttons. You just like parang touch it, right? So, there's a story that when he was presented by the early versions of the iPad, what he did is that he dropped it in an aquarium. Nilagay niya sa aquarium and then he showed the designers, look, there's still bubbles coming out. Meaning, meron pang empty space inside. Oo, we can still, parang pwede pa natin siyang liitan para mas madaling gamitin ng mga tao. So, this story actually, it underscores him being his relentless pursuit of excellence and you as a leader, the importance of actually attention to detail and persistence. And also, kasi si Steve Jobs, he's known for challenging the status quo para ma-achieve mo yung innovation sa iyong organization. 'Di ba? So,
Mm.
yun yung namang isang gusto ko kay Steve Jobs is that story. Alright?
Totoo,
Sige.
totoo.
So, ikaw naman, mayroon ka pa
Yan,
about David
yan.
or
Yan, John Maxwell ako. Kasi
okay.
siguro familiar ka, Marl, how my leadership training was influenced by John Maxwell. Siyempre, courtesy siya ni Janet Tural kasi lahat ng mga leadership
Yes.
ni Janet, mostly galing kay John Maxwell because she herself is a John Maxwell certified leader, 'di ba? And then
Yes, yes.
natapos ko kasi ilang mga libro niya, yung Laws of Leadership, yung Communication, yung lahat. At nakita ko yung story ni John Maxwell. He came from a humble beginning. In fact,
Mm.
John Maxwell is a pastor who initially grew a church Akala niya kasi yun lang yung ano niya, yung una niyang pangarap na palakihin, palaguin yung church niya. But then he realized that his true calling is not just by leading people, but by duplicating himself, his leadership skills, and teach it to many people so that he will then have more impact. So ang ginawa ni John Maxwell, he had a project before to train 5,000 leaders in Peru. That was way back 2005 kung di ako nagkakamali. And at that time, he pitched the idea to the president of Peru. Sana tama yung country kung pagkakaalala, di ba? So he pitched that, and then the president was so astonished na sinuportahan niya yung pinitch na idea ni John Maxwell. So he and his team came to Peru na nag-train sila ng 5,000 leaders, and ang trabaho, ang mission ng 5,000 leaders and is to educate more leaders around the world so that they can impact thousands and thousands of people in terms of their leadership skills, which they did for the past 5 years. Wala silang ginawa kundi mag-train ng leaders. Siya at saka si Martinelli, I forgot what his first name is, siya yung pinaka-head ng training, nung leadership training program niya. I forgot what his name was. Basta Martinelli
Oo.
yung last name niya. Yon. So, imagine, ang philosophy kasi ni John Maxwell, it's either gawin natin to this big or not at all. At that time, he was already parang 75 years old kasi more than 80 plus na siya ngayon 70
Parang
basta.
go big or go home.
Oo, yun yung ano niya, mamamatay akong ito yung ginagawa ko. Yun yung sa kanya. Alam ko baka hindi ko matapos. In fact, the way that he was pitching the training to the 5,000, yung mga ano niya na help me
Mm.
achieve this dream. Alam kong mahirap and we may not reach it. Nonetheless, ang pagkakapit niya, nonetheless, gawin pa rin natin because we have a dream so big na kahit di natin siya ma-reach, malaki pa rin yung impact na maibibigay natin sa buong mundo. And that's how the Maxwell Speakers Club grew, that up to this moment, it's growing internationally. So para sa akin, para magkaroon ka ng vision,
Yes.
halos walang maniwala sa iyo na napaka-imposible. And in fact, buhay pa siya hanggang ngayon. He was more than, I think, 85 years old na siya plus. Diba? And he's still working and honing more leaders through his book and through his training program. Wow.
Yeah.
Ako na nabilib diba?
Oo. In fact, I also was influenced by John Maxwell. Thanks also to Ma'am Janet Toral. Yan. So, sige, speaking of staying true to your vision, ako naman, I'd like to share more story about Steve Jobs. Okay?
Okay.
So, if you remember before, yung iPhone, the first iPhone, alam mo ba kung kailan na-introduce yung first iPhone? If you remember. Anong
Maalala.
year?
Wala kasi ako
It's
nung first
around
iPhone.
2007.
Wow.
It was introduced in 2007. And if you remember during that time, the leading cell phone producer or manufacturer in the world are Nokia. At
Yeah.
sila yung number one. And they dominated market share probably around 80 to 90% the market share. Imagine, ikaw yung you dominated that market share. Ngayon kasi ang dami na. So, during that time, when iPhone was introduced, hindi lang siya phone It's not just a phone. So what Steve Jobs did, it's so revolutionary because what he did is he combined the iPad, yung iPod na music, where you can listen, and then a phone, and also an internet. Diba? So parang 3-in-1 yung inano niya. And then wala siyang keypad. It's the first smartphone na parang lang. It's only all screen. I remember I remember using the first iPhone actually. It's so heavy and it really feels so strong. And during that time, parang ma-amaze ka kasi puro screen lang siya. Puro screen lang siya.
Bago pa
So,
paningin ng tao
it's so new. And during that time, before the launching of iPhone, so all the board of directors of Nokia were kasi parang what we're going to do, Apple is launching. Ang pinaka lang nila is how big is their market share? Because Apple probably own only around 3% of the market share for the cell phone, or the gadget industry. So ang liit lang talaga. But that device, that iPhone, that launch actually changed the trajectory of mobile phones. So parang that's how innovative Steve Jobs is, staying true to his vision, na kahit hindi pa alam ng ay, maganda pala yung ganun. Hindi mo pa naiisip na, ay, pwede pala yung ganito, maganda pala yung ganito, kahit walang bot, kahit walang keypad. Kasi nga before, when you are using cellphones, pwede kang mag-text na hindi nakatingin. Nanonood ka ng TV, nagte-text ka kasi memorize mo yung keypads, di ba? Ganun yung before. But he changes that, and because of his vision, he relentlessly and changed the trajectory of our mobile phones. And thanks to him, we have now phones that are touchscreen. Yun yung based yun sa iPhone eh. It's so Steve Jobs doesn't just improve on an existing technology. What he did is he reimagined it, introducing something completely new. So he teaches leaders the importance of thinking ahead and not being confined by the present. Yung parang yun yung sinasabing think outside the box. 'Di ba? And it paved a way. Kasi ngayon Apple is the number one smartphone producer and manufacturer. Parang kung ano yung ni iPhone, ito na yung parang gagayahin. 'Di ba? Sila na yung 'di ba?
They
So,
became the
yun na
leader in
yung
industry.
yes,
Mm,
from having a very small because of the brilliance of being innovative. Alright, so
mm,
yun. So ikaw naman.
mm. Balikan natin ng leadership kasi 'di ba binanggit ko kanina si John Maxwell. And John Maxwell
Yes.
has written maybe 100 books. But maybe hindi siguro bababa ng 20 books about leadership. And what I like
Mm,
about John
mm.
Maxwell is that when he writes parang step by step. Tapos may edition pa siya na kunyari, may version siya, may mga updates, binabago niya yung book. Now, ang isa sa mga unang-unang libro na nabasa ko is Developing the Leader Within You. This is the book that really changed the way that I see leadership. Kasi akala ko before, you have to be born a leader or you're not going to be a leader at
Mm,
all. In this book, meron siyang tinatch na tatlong bagay. Number one, sabi niya, leadership can be developed. So, pwede naman palang hindi ka born leader. Pero, kailangan mo
oo.
syempre mag-own ng mga skills that leaders need, that leaders have.
Yes,
Oo.
yes.
Pangalawa, sabi niya, leadership is all about influence, not just about authority. Kasi before, when we talk about leadership, siguro yung mga past leadership, ang tingin natin yung mga boss before na masusungit, mga demanding, ay, dapat
Oo,
ipasa mo yan.
oo.
Akala natin, leader na
Bossy
yun.
yun, eh. Being a
Boss
boss. Oo.
oo. Now, dun ko nakita na,
Yes.
so ang ideal palang leader, hindi yung bossy ka. Dapat nakikita yung character growth mo as a person. Kasi paano ka makaka-influence ng tao? Magutos ka lang, tatakutin mo sila. Pag di ka pumasok, babawasan ko sahod mo.
Yes.
O, ganon. But it's not
Yes.
leadership. It's not,
Parang
uh,
you're not inspiring growth.
yes,
You're
oo.
instilling fear.
Sure.
Oh, 'di
Oo, 'di
ba?
ba? Which is not healthy
Oo.
for any organization in that matter. And then yung pinakahuli, it's about leadership as a service. Yung binabanggit ni Mark kanina na servant leadership, which is ang pinakamagandang example
Yes.
nga yan, si Jesus Christ. 'Di ba? Kasi tayo mismo, if we will look at ourselves as servant leaders, sa bahay pa lang hindi ka na magiging mautos. Panganay ka, utusan mo yung kapatid mo, pamangkin mo, bubulin mo, ay,
Oo.
abutin yung tubig ko. Yung ganon, as early as 5, 6 years old, utusan mo nilang bumili ng sigarilyo, bumili ng alak sa tindahan, anong klaseng influence magkakaroon sila? 'Di ba? So kahit nasa bahay pala, pwede tayong mag-influence on a positive manner kahit hindi kailangan malaking organisasyon. And these three things that John Maxwell taught about leadership really changed the way that I look at people, at organizations, and at the kind of leadership that I have and people has on their on their own team. 'Di ba? So Basahin niyo, books ni John Maxwell, guys.
Yes, 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 yes. Maganda talaga, maganda naman talaga yung ano. And I think he is one of, in fact, if not the number one, is on the top five in terms of people who influence leaders around the world, di
Yes.
ba? Yan
Mm-mm.
yung ano. So, ano ko lang, speaking more about Steve Jobs, no, ito naman yung ano, being resilient. Kasi if if you follow Steve Jobs, in 1985 actually, he was ousted from Apple. Pinalitan
Yes.
siya as CEO. And then he returned to Apple uh, in 1997. And Apple during that time, in 1997, is in the brink of bankruptcy. So yung imagine yung binuo mo, pinaghirapan mo, the company that made you breakthrough, parang pinalayas ka tapos pag bumalik ka, malulugi na siya. So what he did actually during that time is he streamlined product lines. So pinalitan na lang na ang dami naman nating product, ito lang. Focus lang tayo sa mga ganito. And then he introduced new products, and because of that, he brought Apple back to being profitable. So, ang ano ko naman dito sa story na 'to is it emphasizes resilience. Kasi pinaalis ka na, and after 12 years saka ka palang binabalik, 'di ba?
At saka
So,
forgiveness.
meron naman siyang ginawa,
Ay,
oo.
sinipa niyo ako.
Oo, ngayon wala, palugi na kayo, binalik niyo ako. Actually, he he maneuvered his way back to the company. So, gano'n naman siya ka ano, but it emphasizes being resilient and being adaptable and the importance of staying true to your vision. Kasi kung ikaw pinalis na ako, parang ay mali siguro yung ginagawa ko, 'di ba? But after 12 years, what he did is ako tama yung ginawa ko kaya lang inano niyo ako eh. So I still do what I see this company is going to. And it paved the way kasi siya naman talaga yung nag-ano ng Apple. So even when you're faced with adversity, so dito naman we can learn the value of being of perseverance and believing in our capability, because sometimes we underestimate our capability as a leader. 'Di ba
Yes.
parang inaano, "Ay, ito lang ako, eh, hanggang dito lang ako, hindi siguro sila susunod sa akin." And in your scare, you haven't tried it yet, natatakot ka na. So, yun naman yung nagustuhan ko sa story na yun ni Steve Jobs is when he returned to Apple.
Yeah. Ako, Marl, isa sa mga favorite person ko kasi sa marketing naman is Russell Brunson. I like him
Yes,
because
same.
of that he treats his wife the way that he is very passionate about funnels, about make helping other people grow their.
Automation,
Oo, business
yes.
automation kasi yung tinuturo niya. And aside from that, he is an athlete. Wrestler kasi si Russell Brunson. So yung discipline niya malakas. Bukod sa
Mm,
magaling na siya sa marketing side, yung self-discipline niya kasi atleta nga siya. So, nakita ko yung growth ni Russell Brunson from, sabi nga niya, ang unang-unang binenta daw niya na funnel is yung potato gun. I'm not sure kung naalala mo yung kwento niya, Marl, na gumawa siya ng funnel, wala pa siyang alam sa marketing automation noon, inaaral niya lang here and there, nagbabasa-basa lang siya sa Google, tapos nag-create siya ng website, nagbenta siya ng how to make potato guns. DIY
potato
potato
guns,
gun,
yeah.
oo, na package. And
Oo,
nagulat siya kasi that potato gun actually sold him thousands of dollars and made him rich. Yumaman siya dahil doon sa potato gun na yun. Pero syempre, nag-die down na rin siya after. Tapos, yun na yung parang yun yung nag-catapult doon sa isip niya na kaya ko palang ibenta kahit ano. Basta may system.
mm.
Yun. And
Yes,
that's
yes.
when he started jumping from one project to another that led him to build ClickFunnels and partner with, hindi naman kailangan siyang magaling siya sa lahat ng bagay. Eh. He just partnered with people, with the right people, with the right skills, 'di ba? Para buuin yung ClickFunnels and then yung copy, ano yun? Copy secrets. Copywriting
Yes,
secret.
copywriting secrets.
Yeah, oo.
Yes.
Hindi naman lahat yung
Uh,
galing sa utak niya eh. 'Di ba? But because he is welcoming partnerships and he is able to see opportunities by collaboration, not by competing with other people. And that grew his business a lot, and that helped him grow more people's businesses at the same time. Kaya ngayon yung gumagamit ng ClickFunnels, ilang libo na. And ilang libo na rin yung yumaman just
yes.
because they're using the same system as he was using before. Yun.
Exactly. Yes. Ayun. So, ang ako naman, so may three na yung sa'yo. So I will introduce my third favorite leader. Ito naman siya is because of he's so audacious and very strategic siya. So his name is actually Alexander the Great.
Great.
He's the great nga talaga siya, 'di ba? And one of the story that I like about him is the Gorgon nut legend. So what he did is faced with an intricate knot that no one could tie. What Alexander do is he sliced it in half with his sword. Okay? Kasi hindi naman to but hindi to maantay, hindi natin maano. Oo. So, ay ba, they're looking for ways to untie that Gorgon knot. Pero sabi niya, ba't di natin pwedeng slice? Mayroon naman tayong sword. So, it's about thinking about the box. It's being strategic, and you should not be confined with what the majority is thinking na ito lang yung pwede. 'Di ba? Ito lang yung pwede. So, be thinking differently and being decisive, and also taking bold
Actions.
actions when you're faced
Oo.
with a challenge. Oo. So, yun yung nagustuhan ko naman dun sa story na yun ni Alexander.
Mm, mm. Ang
Oo.
leaders kasi marami kasi siyang characteristics, Marl, eh. In fact, nakapagsabi pala ako ng 4.
Yes.
Yung characteristics and leaders. Pero ang na-realize ko, Marl, we should be following a leader in different aspects of our lives. For example, in terms of spiritual, in terms of marketing, tayo kasi nasa business, di ba? Ako, in terms of leadership, and maybe in times of, meron yung mga life coaches, yung, ano yung, saan yung direction ng buhay
Yes,
mo.
yes.
Kailangan kasi meron kang compass na minsan kasi nakakalimutan mo siya. Alam mo yun, minsan
Oo,
ikaw
oo.
mo alam what kind of person you want to become unless you see somebody that's already, the kind of person that you really want.
Want to
Saka
be.
oo, 'di ba? Saka mo pipiliting i-mirror yung sarili mo, gusto ko maging gano'n, gusto ko maging gano'n. And that's when growth starts. Kaya yung intentional growth, do'n nagsisimula 'yan, eh. Not because,
Oo,
inggit ka 'no, yung, "Ay gusto ko rin yumaman katulad niya." Hindi naman yung gano'n. But because you are inspired by leaders and
exactly.
influencers, 'di ba? Yun yung magpo-propel do'n sa growth na gusto mong tahakin. At siyempre ang tanong diyan, would you be willing to go through the process that that person did? Kasi dun naman tayo nagkakaiba. Yung iba, gusto ko lang maging ganyan. Wala namang ginagawa.
Oo, but don't
Um,
want to ano, parang you want to go to the destination but you don't want to went through the journey,
Yeah,
'di ba?
oo, which is
Yeah.
iba-iba rin, oo. Kasi hindi ka naman makakapunta dun
Mm.
without journeying. Hindi naman yan magiging parehong-pareho, pero at least similar path. Kung gusto mo, for example, maging public
Yes.
speaker, kailangan ngayon pa lang nagsasalita ka na. Eh, gusto mo maging public speaker, basa
Oo,
ka lang ng basa, wala naman nakakarinig sa thoughts mo,
tama.
'di ba? Hindi ka maho-hone ng
Yes.
gano'n. You really have to talk and
Mm.
speak in large audiences. Kahit magsimula ka sa 2 audience lang, tapos parami ng parami, you
Yes.
to grow and you have to be intentional about it.
Oo. Yun nga sa ano, you just have to do it and learn from it. Na huwag ka nang
Yeah,
maghintay na, "Ay, saka na lang ako
kailangan
magganito,"
perfect
or
ka
'pag
na.
meron na. Yes, yes, para wala naman talagang perfect condition, 'di ba? There's no
Mm,
perfect condition.
mm.
So we are half through actually, Ross. So before that, guys, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel or Facebook page, you follow our Facebook page, please do subscribe to be updated on new episodes in our inspiring conversations. It's every Monday. So pag Monday, it's Motivational Monday. Pag Friday naman, it's called Failure Friday. Diba? Parang where we talk about failures and what we learn from those failures. Okay. Sige. So, ano ba lang, that's the reason why we're also sharing stories that are like, kasi with stories you mirror yourself and doon ka na mas nai-inspire lalo eh.
Yeah.
Parang you can imagine the situation and what these leaders did on that situation. And then when sometimes you are facing the same situation or similar situation, parang you can reference what they did. Ito yung ginawa ni ano, ito yung ginawa niya in this kind of situation. So ano ba yung pwede kong gawin? Diba? That's the reason why we're sharing these stories that inspire us kasi para kayo din na nakikinig, if you are faced with similar situations as these leaders or you're looking for an inspiration when you are transitioning or growing your leadership skills, ito yung mga story na yon. So, ito pa, I'd like to share the story more about, kasi si Alexander, I idol ko talaga in terms of strategy. In terms of strategy. So, there is what we call the Battle of Issos. So, in tong Battle of Issos, ang kalaban ni Alexander dito is si uh, King Darius III. He's the Persian king and gusto talaga ning i-conquer ni Alexander. But the problem is that the force of Alexander is so much smaller compared to the force of King Perseus o King Darius. Okay? But pero yung King Alexander talaga, he's yung parang yung makikita mo sa mata niya, he's so fiery na I really want to conquer you. So ganon.
Yung
So
person
but
before sila yung isa sa pinakamalalakas na mga soldiers, 'di ba?
yes, actually, in fact,
Mm.
they're one of the biggest. In fact, the
Warrior,
biggest during that time. Oo. So the odds in that battle, the odds were is heavily stacked against Alexander, and among his men, meron ng mga bulong-bulungan and the rumors spread na wala na, talo na tayo nito kasi ang dami ng kalaban at ang lalakas nila. So what Alexander did as a leader. So with he wear his golden armor and with his golden armor reflecting the sun's rays, he stood up there so strong and ang pinakita niya talaga sa mga tao na I just don't come here to fight. I came here to win. Yun yung ano niya. So as the battle start, the earth tremble under the weight of the clashing of their shields and swords. And grabe ang ano ng tension kasi nga the force of Alexander they really want to conquer the force of King Darius pero sila naman ang dami namin. Bakit namin magpapatalo sa inyo? Ang liit nyo. Parang ganon. Para siyang it's like David and Goliath. But during the chaos dahil sa kaguluhan doon ano yung pagiging strategic ni King Alexander. So ang ginawa niya mga swift maneuvers, unexpected tactics, and with his unyielding spirit, so hindi talaga siya, ang dami niyang strategy na in-employ na it confuses King Darius' army. So, ganun yung ginawa niya. And then, when yung palapit na yung matapos yung battle, doon nila na ano na, ay, hindi pala basta-basta tong army ni King Alexander. Kahit ang little na, ang dami nilang tactics. They have a lot of things that they could do. And they actually outmaneuvered King Darius' army. And when everything was settled, when the dust settled, natalo ng army ni King Alexander ang army ni King Darius. So, what this means is that as a leader, even when we're faced with overwhelming odds, when we are outnumbered, when we are outfunded, or when even we are uh, parang all the odds are stacked against us. With the right strategy, and when you prepare yourself on that day and being able to adjust and adapt, you can achieve your goal and you can bring your organization to where you want to be. Pag you are become strategic and kalma ka lang, being uh, calm amidst all the chaos and knowing that we have this strategy, implement or executing the vision you had in your mind. Kahit na nagkagulo na and minsan may mga challenges, ay, ito yung iniisip mo, mali pala, hindi pala siya lusot. Ano gagawin mo? You have to continue to be adaptable to the circumstances until you reach your goal. Yun yung isa sa nagustuhan ko kay King Alexander, being is strategic might. Na that's why kaya nga tinawag siyang Alexander the Great. Kasi deserve naman niya yung yung ano na yun na the Great kasi nga he's so strategic. Yun.
Yeah.
Yun yung ano ko naman. Sige.
Um,
Ikaw naman.
Mar no. Gusto kong sundutan si Alexander the Great kasi ang isa sa mga strength ni Alexander the Great is his well-trained personal guards. Kaya hindi nakalapit yung Persian Empire sa kanya. He trusted his people because he trained the people.
Yes.
'Di ba? In fact, si King Darius, ang pagkakaalam ko, Marl, china-challenge siya sa single combat. Pero ayaw niya ng single
Ah.
combat kasi ah binibigay pa lang yung challenge, nag-strategize siya sa pag diyaan maa-assassinate ako, panain lang ako, wala na akong magagawa, 'pag namatay ako 'di wala na
Oo.
yung soul ko, 'di ba? So ayaw niya.
Oo,
And so
pag namatay siya, ubos silang lahat.
oo, 'di ba? Eh, siya yung ano, eh, siya yung heart nung ano, eh, nung soldier nung
Yes.
tawag dun, ah, ano bang tawag sa malaking soldier, army niya, 'di ba? Siya yung heart
Army.
nun, eh, nawawala sila, oo. So he trusted his people. Bukod sa napaka-strategic na talaga, eh, napakalakas niya, and 'di ba? Well-trained siya sa battlefield. Yun yung isa sa mga strength niya, and every leader has strong people around him that are also ready to take
Yes.
over in case things happen. Isa rin to sa mga strategy na tinuturo ni John Maxwell sa 21 laws of irrefutable leadership skills, wherein kailangan nagtitrain ka ng people that are willing to take over in case things happen. Hindi naman natin maiaalis yun, may biglang mamatay, magkasakit, or whatnot,
Yes,
'di
yung
ba?
parang
Kailangan
transition. Oo,
oo,
prepare for
wag
the
ka ring
transition.
manghawak ng leadership position. You have to prepare your people to lead in case something happens to you. Yun.
Yes, yes, tama, tama. So I really agree on that. That being a good leader, hindi lang ikaw yung parang you don't uh, get the credit for everything.
Oo,
Actually,
hindi na
good
ikaw
leaders attract good members and they bring out the best in their people, 'di ba?
yes.
Yun
Mm.
yung isa, like for example si Jesus Christ. Yung mga apostoles naman niya, hindi naman yun mga the best people, 'di ba? Parang ano
Yun pa
naman
nga,
yun,
yun nga, 'di
oo,
ba?
oo, they
Mm.
are the worst people but as a excuse me, as a leader, you bring out the best in your people through your leadership. Okay. Ano ko lang, shout out to Ellie. Sabi niya nga, yung sinabi mo kanina, Rosh, na intentional growth, di ba? Amen daw.
Mm.
So, thank you for
Thank you.
watching, Ellie. And if you wanted to share more, please feel free para i-feature natin yung comment mo. And for those who are watching, please comment kung ano yun naman yung uh, tingin nyo na or people that inspired you in being a leader and their stories. Now,
Mhm.
gusto ko lang i-share more about kay Jesus Christ in terms of being a leader. Yung isang story when I think they're in the Sea of Galilee, na there's a lot, ang lakas ng bagyo. 'Di ba? And all his disciples gusto nang tumalon, natakot, they are so scared na na baka malunod yung bangka nila, yung bangka.
Oh,
So, but it was during that time, Jesus just remained calm, 'di ba? And what he did is he stills the storm with just a command. So, ang ano ko naman sa story na 'yon is that you as a leader should be the last one na mataranta, 'di ba? When
mm,
you have to remain calm under pressure. Yan yung ano kasi if ikaw na leader sa unang ano pa lang, unang struggle, nataranta ka na,
naging
anong mangyayari sa mga tao mo?
oo,
Wala, matataranta rin sila. Kasi ikaw nga na leader, nataranta ka na nga eh. But if you stay composed under pressure, yung mga tao, they will trust you more and they said, hey, yung leader natin, huwag kang mag-alala kasi siya nga, kalmado lang siya. So don't worry, this too shall pass. Or malalagpasan natin to. Yun yung mga ano, because people will be inspired by you if you just be calm and be composed under pressure because we as a leader should provide reassurance to our followers, to our members, especially on tough times. When times become challenging, ikaw dapat yung nagiging anchor ng organization mo na, uy, kaya natin to. Okay? You should be the one to show faith and determination when nobody is showing faith and determination. Ikaw dapat yung you should be the one that's constant. Kasi if you you become you show faith and determination and nalagpasan nyo yun, people will trust you more about your leadership. And the next time a challenge happen or a tough time happen and you remain calm, they will trust you. Huwag kang mag-alala because last time nalampasan natin yun. Ang tingnan mo ngayon, yung leader natin kalmado pa rin. Malalagpasan natin to. So, yan
yeah.
yung kagandahan ng ah, being a leader with maging cool under pressure. Di ba?
Yeah. Oh, speaking
Yun.
of leader being cool under pressure, puntahan naman natin yung leader that unites. A leader kasi doesn't cause any strife. Hindi siya yung pinagsisimula ng away, ng hindi pagkakaunawaan.
Yes.
Ayan, kasama na rin yan sa cool
Oo.
under pressure. Kunyari, merong mga iba't ibang members of the team na hindi nagkakaunawaan, huwag kang basta-basta kakampi. Ay, kasi ito, tama siya eh, ganyan. Kasi magkaibigan lang kayo. You have to find a way to keep, ano ba yan, yung fair justice. 'Di ba? Hanggat maaari,
Yes.
tingnan mo sila from the point of view of a leader. Hindi from the point of view of, kasi kaibigan ko na yun eh, tapos tinitira niya eh, mga ganon. Di ba? Wag, parang
Ah,
kumbaga wag tayo makiaway bata. Kasi naalala ko
tama.
David, balikan lang natin because David's anong tawag dito, greatest legacy in Israel is that he was the one, after years of conflict dun sa Israel, he was the one who united the tribes of Israel into a single kingdom. Pinagsama-sama niya, 'di ba? Siya yung nag-establish na Jerusalem yung magiging capital, both spiritual
Yes,
and
yes.
political center. Kaya nga nung mga panahon na yun, very powerful ang Israel, 'di ba? Tsaka kilalang kilala ang Jerusalem. And because
Mm.
of that, hindi lang siya leader na militar, hindi lang siya lumalaban sa battlefield. And at the same time, he is also the symbol of justice and the symbol of unity amongst his people. Mahirap naman nang gawin yung ginawa ni David, di naman na tayo lumalaban sa gera ngayon. But then,
Yes.
kahit simple na hindi pagkakaunawaan sa group, let us at least try to look at the situation in a fairly manner and promote unity instead of magkakampi-kampihan. Kasi 'pag meron ng kinampihan ka na diyan,
May
nagsimula
faction na.
'pag may
Oo.
faction, wala na 'yan, hindi na 'yan katulad ng dati, maghihiwa-hiwalay na 'yan unti-unti.
Yes, I really agree. Because a leader, you should be objective
Yeah.
in your decisions. And you should parang follow the majority but protect the minority. Ganun
Mm.
siya dapat. na leader. Wow! Grabe, parang kailan lang, isang oras na yon.
Oo nga, 5 minutes na lang, Marl.
Ang sarap ng
Nahihirapan
kwentuhan natin
ako
about
sa
leadership, Ross.
oo,
Oo,
oo.
oo.
Marami pala
Parang I think we
ngayon ko
should
lang
wrap it up. So you wrap up your leaders.
mm.
Ano, ano?
Marami pa pala tayong
Oo.
pagkukwentuhan sa mga ganitong topic. Nagulat din ako na isang oras, parang ang bilis lang.
Yes. Oo, oo. Ang bilis lang pala. So, Rosh, let's wrap up the leaders that we admire, yung sa'yo,
Mm.
and then I wrap up also mine and what you ano. So, I think let's start with you. Sa
Yes, sige.
tatlong leaders
Unahin
na mention mo kanina. Oo.
meron kasi akong 4 nga na-mention ko, sorry.
Ay,
Um,
oo. Yeah. Apat.
dalawang leader, si Saint Paul at saka si King David, who came from the different books of the Bible. Yung Old Testament si King David, sa New Testament si Saint Paul. Kaya significant yung story nila sa akin kasi malaki yung role nila into the propagation of Christianity. And syempre yun nga yung kay King
Yes.
David, yung pwede ka palang magkamali and you can redeem yourself. It's just
Oo.
showing us na tayo as leaders, we can make mistakes. So pag nagkamali ka, wag mo nang sisihin yung sarili mo, nagkamali ka na eh. Just try to make up for it and become a better person and a stronger leader at that. 'Di ba? And
Yes.
si Saint Paul naman, siya kasi yung isang picture ng servant leadership. Parang si Jesus Christ, sabi nga ni Marl, hindi siya kumukuha ng pera sa mga tao niya, nagtatrabaho siya despite how hard it is to evangelize at that time. And yung pangatlo ko, si John Maxwell, isa siya sa mga ngayon kinikilalang tao na nagpo-promote ng leadership and tumutulong sa mga tao ihon ang kanilang mga leadership skills. And he was known globally. Yet in fact, when he talks, bukas nga magkakaroon ng live to lead program under ni Janitorial. I-check nyo guys kasi maganda yung program. It's a paid
Yes.
event of John Maxwell himself where he invites leaders na magbigay ng mga stories, mag-share ng mga inspiration sa mga tao that also wants to lead or is already in the leadership position. That's how influencing John Maxwell is. And of course, yung favorite ko sa marketing side, kasi hindi ko naman strength ang marketing when I came into the digital industry. 'Di ba? So, hindi siya ganun kadali for me. Hindi katulad ni Marl, parang automatic sa kanya, madali lang i-pick up yung mga puzzles, put them together, and create a strategy. For me, I have to learn it. Wala akong ganong strategic mind. Marami akong mga ideas pero I cannot put them strategically na parang ganon kadali. So I really had to look for inspiration just like Russell Branson. And what I love about Russell Branson is not just his strategic and collaborative skill. It's also the way that he built his team para silang pamilya, para silang
Mm.
magkakapatid na bumubuo, 'di ba? Nung isang company
Yes.
that is leading them to fulfill one mission. O, 'di ba? Which is to help grow people's businesses through, of course, ClickFunnels. Hindi naman kami binabayaran ng ClickFunnels, pero pwede rin Russell Brunson. Yun lang po,
Yeah.
mga kaibigan. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Ang galing, galing. So, again, that's Apostle Paul
Yeah.
and
King David,
King David, and then
Juan Maxwell,
Russell Branson. John
and Russell
Maxwell
Brunson.
and Russell Branson. Okay. Sa akin naman, the three leaders that really parang tumatak sa akin is number one, si Jesus Christ. Kasi ano ko talaga yung parang servant leadership niya na ano yung hinugasan niya yung mga paa ng mga disciples niya. And also, um, being resourceful as well. Nung inanyo niya, yung 5 loaves of bread tapos pinakain niya yung 5,000 tao. Imagine, kahit ngayong panahon na to na mayroon ng food panda, mayroon ng mga restaurants, ang pagpapakain
Nakalimutan
ng 5,000 tao, it's not easy. Like the logistics of that, right? But he did it. So yun din yung and also being inclusive in his story about the Good Samaritan, 'di ba? So yun yung And second leader that I really like is in terms of excellence naman and being a visionary is Steve Jobs. Nung he introduced like iPod, ng unang iPad na inano niya, nilagay niya sa aquarium, oy, may bubbles pa lumalabas, meaning may empty space pa diyan. So pwede pa nating liitan. And then when he also ano, yung pagiging ano niya, at being true to his vision that even though he was ousted from his brainchild actually and the company that he really built, and then after 12 years bumalik siya, still stay true to his vision. And instead of Apple in the brink of bankruptcy nung bumalik si Steve Jobs, he made it profitable again. So yun yung ano ko kay Steve Jobs, being ano and thinking out of the box. Yun yung ano kay Steve Jobs na hindi lang ganito. Yung kahit kasi sometimes when majority of people is telling you na this is the only way to do this, is there another way that's better or more efficient? Yun yung ano ni Steve Jobs eh. And ang pangatlong leader ko naman na gusto ko in terms of strategy naman and being audacious in his parang goals is si Alexander the Great. Kasi nga in yung ano niya, yung Gordian knot legend na wala talagang makakatanggal. Sabi niya, ba't di natin pwedeng hiwain para maano? So, he's still thinking out of the box and then being strategic na yung nga sa sinabi mo kanina na hinamon siya ng one-on-one, other leaders would ano on their ego, 'di ba?
Go.
Na, 'di ba? Sige, one-on-one tayo para ano, but um Alexander knows himself na kung ano, pag mamatay ako, I know all my soldiers will die because we're smaller army, and if they become demoralized, talo talaga kami. So he ano in his this is my strategy, and he stayed true to their strategy, executed it well, and even began chaos na parang uh, on on a nutshell, mukhang talo na yung ano niya, but he still executed their plan strategy well and nanalo siya. Kaya hence the name Alexander the Great. So yun yung mga leaders na nagustuhan natin. Right, Rosh?
Yan, oh, 'di ba? Guys, na-realize ko lang si John Maxwell na lang ang buhay sa mga binigyan naming example at saka si Russell
Ay,
Brunson.
oo. Oh yeah, Russell Brunson. Tapos yung mga ano ko pala na-realize ko, they're all dead.
Ayun nga.
Mga patay na pala yung mga inaano ko.
Oo, pero kahit
Ah,
pakailan nakaka-inspire pa, 'di ba?
yeah,
Let's do
imagine
that.
that kind of influence kahit patay ka na and for how many for hundreds or thousands of years, you
Lots
still
of years.
influence people. Yeah,
Yes, correct.
that's true leadership and legacy
Mm.
na ano and as human beings and as leaders, that's what we should strive to na giving legacy to the people through our leadership. Yun.
Oo. Sayangin ang mga buhay natin. Let's not become an empty space saver lang sa mundo. Mag
Uh-huh.
let's find something meaningful out of the life that we have. And we can do that little by little.
Yes.
Influencing kahit kapitbahay mo lang, kahit pamangkin mo lang,
Oo.
'di ba?
Kahit
Isang
mga
tao
anak
lang.
mo lang, 'di ba?
Oo, 'di ba? Hindi naman kailangan
Oo.
isang libo-libong tao kaagad. And then we start from there.
Yes.
Small.
Taking it small, tama.
Mm.
So, guys, thank you so much for joining us. I know nabitin kayo, kami din nabitin eh. Ang dami pa pala nating
Mm.
pwedeng pag-usapan, no? So,
Oo.
this Friday, we have another amazing episodes. Join us on Failure Friday. So, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope that you are enlightened by our leadership stories, right?
Kami rin na-inspire. So, thank you so much everyone. If you
Yes.
haven't liked our page yet, please do so. Kasi dito nyo makikita yung mga updates and yung mga upcoming episodes. Of course, with inspiring guests in the future. Para hindi naman kaming dalawa lang lagi. Baka
Yes.
nagsasawa na kayo sa aming mga faces.
Yes. So, Ross, I
So,
think that's a wrap for tonight's Motivational Monday. And guys, I hope you follow us or subscribe to our channel, and so that you'll be updated on our upcoming episodes. So, until next time, stay inspired and keep reaching for your own success. Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
All right.